Hello, I'm Madeline Westerveld from Schenectady County in the Mohawk Monarchs 4-H Club. And today I'm going to tell you about John Muir. John Muir was a naturalist who fought to create our national parks. He lived a long and interesting life in the outdoors. John Muir was born in Scotland on April 21st, 1838. John Muir's parents were farmers and had a strong opinion on Christianity, so much that by the time John was 10, he had memorized the whole Bible. John Muir taught himself math, science, and was very good at making machines. And when his farm work was done, he built many amazing things. He loved to do dares with his brother, like climbing on the roofs of houses around them. John's love for the outdoors was kindled by his grandfather, who often took him for walks through the woods. This is a picture of John Muir's family. John's family moved to America when he was in his tweens because they thought there would be better land for farming there. John Muir saw many different things in America, like the Northern Lights, which he had seen in Scotland, but they weren't as bright there. He also saw many different kinds of birds, like the black-capped chickadee and cardinal. John Muir was a farmer until he was 18. And when he turned 18, the Civil War broke out, so he moved to Canada to get away from the fighting. In Canada, he would work for a broom factory that burned down after the war in America was over. So he moved back to America and worked in factories there as well. But soon he would get tired of factory work, and he took a hike, a very long hike. And this is a picture of young John Muir. John Muir hiked across the country to San Francisco with his plant press in his backpack. He didn't really like it there because it was too crowded, but he saw people growing flowers in their windows and realized the people needed nature. John asked the locals where he could go to get away from the crowds, and they pointed him towards the Sierras. Soon he would find Yosemite Valley, which he loved when he first saw it. He called it nature's natural cathedral. He knew he wanted to stay there, so he made a cabin and worked for a hotel there by giving tours. John would also take walks on his own, whatever the weather. When it was raining and storming, he liked to climb up into the trees and to see how the trees felt in the wind and the rain. And when it was snowing, he liked to climb up in the mountains and ride down on the avalanches. He knew he wanted the government to protect such a beautiful place. So he sent letters to Congress until finally they passed a law saying parts of Yosemite Valley were protected. They called it a national park. They did not protect the grove of sequoias. And this is a waterfall in Yosemite. Theodore Roosevelt, the current president, asked John Muir to take him on a tour of the Yosemites and the sequoias. Muir accepted. Next, Teddy Roosevelt. Muir took Roosevelt on a camping trip and told him stories about the trees. Muir also told Roosevelt how the sequoias were being cut down. Roosevelt was outraged, and as soon as he got back to office, he worked with Representative John Lacey to pass the Act for the Preservation of American Antiquities, which allowed the president to create national monuments. Lacey put it through Congress, and they made it into a law. As soon as this law was passed, Roosevelt made the sequoias a national monument. He also made many other landmarks, like the Grand Canyon, national monuments. And this is a picture of some of the sequoias. After this, Muir married Louisa Wanda Strutzel and had 2 kids, Wanda and Helen. He had a farm, but it didn't suit him. He was sad and missed the mountains. So his wife told him to go back to Yosemite. He did and felt better. Soon, John Muir found another place he wanted to save, called the Hetchichi Valley, which the mayor of a nearby town wanted to make into a dam. Muir fought hard against this, but lost, and the amazing place was made into a dam. In John Muir's later years, he did a lot of writing, and even had a room called the Scribble Room. John Muir died in 1914 because of pneumonia. This is a picture of the Scribble Room. Muir loved the national parks and was always fighting for them. We should remember this quote from John Muir when we go into a national park. Thousands of tired, nerve-shaken, over-civilized people are beginning to find that going to the mountains is going home, that the wilderness is a necessity. We should also remember John Muir and the hard work he did to preserve the national parks. Now it's our turn to preserve them. My writing credits are John Muir, America's First Environmentalist by Catherine Leslie, The National Parks, America's Best Idea by Ken Burns and Dayton Duncan, Save the Earth by Jules Archer, Muir's Nature Writings and Life Story by John Muir, and my photo credits are John Muir National Historic Website, Guardians of the Yosemite, Yosemite National Park website, NobelPrize.org, and Sequoia National Park website. Any questions?
Larry, did you take the time?
Yes, I did.
Okay, all right. Yes, how old was John Muir when he left for San Francisco?
How old was John Muir when he went to San Francisco? I'm not sure. I have to look that up.
Okay, and how old was he when he died from pneumonia?
How old was he when he died from pneumonia? I'm not sure about that either. I have to look that up too.
So how did you develop interest in John Muir?
I really liked the national parks. I wanted to work on one when I grow up. So I learned about him, and I really wanted to do a presentation on it. So
Fits right in this week with Earth Day being this week and
yes.
all the environment and concerns that you talked about in here. And great work, great person, great job.
Thank you.
Amen.